I'm Dudu. Hello everyone. In this part, we will explore design tokens, which are a core technology of a design system. Design tokens are not a completely new technology. It is best to understand them as the process of implanting the concept of variables, which developers have already been using for a long time, into our design tools. In this first chapter, we will cover the clear definition and essence of design tokens. The names we used to call primary colors during design are now becoming a single common variable that bridges both design and development. In other words, this chapter is the very first step of implanting the developer's way of thinking into our design tools. To be honest, the concept of design tokens is not a completely new technology. It is a concept that has already been widely used in development environments for a long time under the name of variables. In the past, however, there was a disconnection in communication. When designers entered fixed style values into Figma and handed them over, developers had to manually convert each one into variables that fit the code environment. Before we dive in, shall we briefly recap the history of design systems? In 2013, the atomic design methodology was introduced. A year later, in 2014, Google's material design made its first appearance. Since Figma released its design token beta feature in 2021, you might think of design tokens as a brand new technology from that period. However, the concept of variables was already being used in development environments since 2014, when design systems were being developed. In the past, developers used CSS preprocessors to manage style values as variables. It simply wasn't linked with design tools back then. However, inside the code itself, design system management through variables was already fully functioning. Let's take a look at a real-world example together. This is a screenshot of an Ant Design Less file from back in 2014. This is what design systems looked like in the early days. As you can see, instead of entering color codes directly into individual components, variables were collected and managed in a separate file. If you look at the left side of the code, you will see a structure where the @ sign is entered at the very beginning of the sentence, followed by a list of variable names. These names starting with the @ sign are the prototype and the root of the design tokens we define and use in our design systems today. Ultimately, design tokens are not a brand new technology that appeared out of nowhere. It is simply that an efficient management system called variables, which has already been proven and used in development environments for 10 years, has now been implanted into our design systems and into Figma, which is a tool for designers. In this second chapter, Token Methodologies, we will look into specific ways to define and structure design tokens. This is a time to go through the concept of the 3-tier structure, which is absolutely necessary for the efficient operation of a design system and the logical ways to design it step by step. Since design tokens originated from development environments, they might feel somewhat difficult for designers. To make this structure easier to understand, I would like to approach it by using a cooking analogy. Tokens within a design system are designed into 3 distinct layers for efficient management: primitive, semantic, and component. Shall we imagine a situation before a chef begins to cook? The first layer, primitive tokens, represents the raw ingredients phase, where you carefully select components before cooking begins. Just like tomatoes, lettuce, or mayonnaise itself, there is no design intent behind the names. It is best to understand this as the purest state, defining only the intrinsic value of the ingredient, such as peach fuzz 500 or nautical blue 600. Next is semantic tokens. Here, we decide what kind of taste to create or what type of food to make with the selected ingredients. Instead of just a simple tomato, we assign a specific purpose, such as a tomato for a sandwich or a tomato for a salad. Within a design system, we embed clear intent into the names, like primary colors or secondary colors. This layer is the core for supporting dark mode, allowing us to change the flavor depending on the situation. Finally, component tokens are the finished menu that is served on the dining table. They are the final dish created exclusively for a specific component based on the recipe defined earlier. Assigned precisely to real UI elements, such as button background focused. They are the final deliverables of the design system that users actually interact with. The raw ingredient, which is the primitive token like a tomato, can be used in a salad or a sandwich. When used in a salad, it becomes a tomato for a salad, and when used in a sandwich, it simply shifts its purpose to a tomato for a sandwich. The intrinsic nature of the tomato itself never changes. Just like the salad and sandwich analogy we discussed, let's wrap this up with the actual design token structure. This three-tier structure is incredibly efficient. When you want to change the background colors applied to multiple components from peach fuzz to nautical blue, you only need to modify a single primitive token. This is possible, of course, because tokens sequentially reference each other. There are two key takeaways you should remember here. First, just as a tomato goes into both salads and sandwiches, primitive tokens can be reused in multiple places based on design intent. Second, if you build a solid structure, you can update your styles all at once. Please remember that this is the true efficiency of using design tokens. In this third session, Design Token Architecture and Efficiency, we will look into the real practical value created by design token structures. We will examine how the primitive, semantic, and component structures we learned about earlier actually drive maintenance efficiency, and explore the principles of how sequential references create powerful effects across the entire design. Generally, design tokens are divided into three tiers for efficient management. These include primitive, which represents all available options, alias or semantic, which gives design intent and meaning, and finally, the component layer, which is assigned to specific UI elements. Let's break down the core characteristics and properties of each layer, one by one. Let's redefine the three-tier structure we saw earlier from a practical standpoint. Each layer is not just a sequence, it has a clear role and scope. From primitive tokens, which serve as the system's raw materials, to semantic tokens filled with design intent, and finally, component tokens assigned to actual UI elements. Through this table, you can check the overall specifications of what properties each layer defines and how they are represented with examples. The first layer, primitive tokens, is literally the most primitive data. There is no design intent contained here. We simply name them based on the unique properties of colors or values, such as peach fuzz, 500 or 16 pixels. It is best to understand this as immutable raw data, collecting all available options within the design system. The second layer, semantic tokens, can be considered the core of a design system. Here, we assign intent, answering where to use it and why. For example, we take peach fuzz 500 and name it primary to reflect its meaning as the brand's main color. Only by managing it through meaning can we efficiently handle dark mode support or style changes across the entire design system all at once in the future. Finally, component tokens are dedicated values that operate dependently on specific UI elements. By referencing semantic tokens once more, they are assigned to specific properties of individual components, such as a button's background color or an input's border. Breaking it down into this final layer allows us to safely and independently modify the style of a specific component, while still maintaining the brand colors of the entire design system. The core mechanism of tokens is that you never enter values directly. Component tokens reference semantic tokens, and semantic tokens reference primitive tokens. Ultimately, this creates a structure of sequential references. When you change a primitive value, it triggers a domino effect, automatically passing the updated value all the way to the final component. What would happen if our main brand color changes from peach fuzz to nautical blue? In the past, we had to manually update the colors of hundreds of buttons one by one. With the token approach, however, we just add the new nautical blue at the primitive layer and switch the semantic token to reference it. That is all it takes for all connected elements to update to nautical blue simultaneously. This structure also enables easy mode switching. When you switch the setting between light and dark primitives, the connected semantic and component tokens will update their modes automatically. Now you see why we structure tokens in layers? However, real-world practice is rarely as perfect as theory. Depending on the team size and product scale, this standard 3-tier structure might feel like too much or even too little. So please keep in mind that companies adapt and modify this framework to fit their own situations. So far, we have explored the efficiency created by the 3-tier structure and sequential references. Ultimately, this structure makes maintenance easier and safer, allowing you to flexibly control the entire design system through the semantic layer. In the next session, we will look at real-world examples to see how these concepts are applied in practice. I'm Dudu.